Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Megha Sharma. Now there is grand celebrations that are in order for India and all Indians across the globe. There are two Indian American scientists that have been awarded the National Medal of Technology and Innovation by the US President Joe Biden at the White House. The two Indian Americans, Ashok Gadgil and Subra Suresh, were awarded the National Award of Technology and Innovation and the National Medal of Science, respectively. President Biden also honored the leading American scientists, technologists and innovators at the award ceremony. The scientists who were honored at the event made discoveries enabling life-saving medical treatments, helping fight the opioid epidemic and improving food security, advancing accessibility and many more such achievements. The National Medal of Science is the nation's highest scientific honor, established by the US Congress in 1959 and administered by the US National Science Foundation. In fact, if we could put out profiles of these two individuals, these two scientists, and where do they come from, how is it that they ended up in United States of America? In fact, one of the scientists is a visiting faculty at Brown University. He passed out from MIT, and this is the latest laurel that he has achieved for himself, for Indians across the globe, like I said, and for the country. All right, I'm going to start my conversation. First, let me quickly get in Group Captain Vienja. Sir, this has always been the dream, the ambition, perhaps not too much of a focus that is given in our country to explore, to educate, to build these centers of information technology, innovation, space sciences, and even if there are a number of these people, number of these individuals, these eminent personalities who end up traveling far and wide to fulfill their educational ambitions and then obviously be the stars of the world.
Megha, to be very frank, Indian intelligentsia is famous the world over, not only in this time. Even, thousands of years back, Indian intelligentsia, Indian knowledges in astronomy or other branches of the science. That time, this branch of science was little different. It came from the Western type of orientation, but we had our own deep sciences in all spheres of the life, whether it was astronomy, cosmos, or the terrestrial sciences. Look, all these brains that you see today at the major places of the science and technology, you will find some or other Indian there. It is there, inbuilt there inside. We ask ourselves, you can be a scientist tomorrow if you answer those 5 basic questions of science: what, why, how, when, where, in the relevant subslots of it. And if you answer that, you are a scientist. You know your science. And all these are the basic requirement what every Indian tries to learn during his school days, during his college days. That is why you will find most of the Indian students, they ask you the maximum of the questions. Anyone whose Mombatti is, burning there inside the head, he will or she will ask you those questions. And some of the teachers, they get annoyed at times that why are you asking so many questions? Those are the basic foundations we have. I am also teaching, some of the MTech students. There we have got altogether different spheres of the questions that come up there. And everyone can answer those, including you, if you apply yourself, that what are those 5 basic questions and what are the answers for it. That is where a lot of students, a lot of professors, a lot of research scholars, they put their thought and mind and heart there in that particular subject to excel. To excel in that particular area. That is where this Professor Gadgil and the other scientists, they have been there. I compliment them on behalf of the entire Indian diaspora, and I'm sure they will go further up. Megha.
Ambassador Mukherjee also on the telecast with me. And Ambassador, obviously first reactions is a pride moment for our country, but also the fact that there are innovators, scientists who are far and few in between from our country, who are recognized, celebrated. I think the people I remember who we were taught in our schools, APJ Abdul Kalam, a great scientist. We talk about Vikram Sarabhai. We talk about Homi Bhabha. But they have achieved the things that they have achieved. It's been decades and decades ago. So who are the new pioneers? Who are the stars of the space industry, of the tech industry, of the innovation industry?
Well, Megha, I'm going to say that the stars are right here in India. The stars are those who achieved the Chandrayaan-2. The stars are those who come from humble origins in India, go to humble universities because their parents cannot afford MIT, and yet they surpass and excel and bring honor to India, so much so that Americans now want to buy our space technology. So I am so happy today that we are doing this program where Indians in United States are bringing laurels by doing what President Biden said, which is pushing the frontiers. And we're doing exactly that in India with our own resources. When I was a kid, we had scientists who went to US, Megha, because we could not give them the necessary labs and facilities for the research and development, etc. So some, including one very famous scientist, got the Nobel Prize as an American, although he had studied here. And I still remember feeling so sorry that he was an Indian, educated in India, he got the Nobel Prize for United States. But today we are in a different position. We can bring Nobel Prizes in any country, including in our own country, because we have got that unique word, Megha, which I think Group Captain Jha alluded to. It's called Indian Jugaad, innovation. We are born with it, and our scientists are doing that. So let's felicitate the scientists who got this award, the highest award in the United States. Let's hope that our scientists of Indian origin from India go from excellence to excellence, and let's hope that our own scientists here in India do the same for our motherland, for India. Megha.
Wing Commander Sudhakaran, I was recently at the French embassy, and they were celebrating the collaboration between the Indian Space Agency programs and the French Space Agency programs. And they had brought on a cosmonaut from France, and he's actually a star figure. He was being celebrated by the French who were present over there as if he's a Bollywood superstar. I was speaking to some of these people who were present at the embassy, and they said, his name is present in every children's storybook that you can pick. His name is present in textbooks. He's celebrated as a celebrity, as a star that children want to emulate in the future. Do you think such sort of a stardom can be seen for scientists in our country as well, or is it just relegated to cricket and Bollywood?
No, we are still not in that space really, because for that to happen, the collective intellect of our academia has to change. Because the way that our education system is modeled today, it's very unfortunate of this that I have to say this on national TV. Even the engineering college graduates, they don't know why they are applying for a certain course, why they go to engineering, why they are studying. The professional studies are just being done. Most of them wants to make ends meet. That is the motivation that drives them to the education system, not towards excellence. And this celebration happens when there is excellence. Today's stardom is all about one night over. So a batsman hitting a six deserves such kind of accolades, which a scientist probably doesn't get, even if he were to spend the whole life. That's the collective reality of our academia as well as the education system as a whole. So we can't really compare that. And if you ask me in the next 10 years or so, are we going to reach there? Probably not, because yes, if there is, if you were to ask anybody that who were the stars behind the Mangalyaan, I'm pretty sure that 99.99% of this country wouldn't know who they were. They were faceless people. They are nameless people. People wouldn't even understand who they are. But yes, they would know who a Robert Oppenheimer is, of course, courtesy the movie or things like that. But then that's how it is. Also, having said that, we have to understand that science is not about recognition. It's about achievement. It's about reaching milestones. It's about invention. It's about self-satisfaction. So we can't, these are different. These are apples and oranges. We can't compare, what happens in, what happens in Bollywood or what happens on the sports field cannot be really compared to what really happens on the domain of science, technology, innovation, and invention. This is altogether a different beast altogether. And it's better that we leave it at that and not make them.
Okay, that's a point of view. Group Captain Jha, would you like to comment on this, especially when it comes to the homegrown scientists, innovators, technology experts? And I have to take a look at ISRO, and then we have these space programs that we are very, very proud of. Obviously, Chandrayaan-2 being the latest achievement that we have been able to pat our backs on. And none of them were, pass outs from Brown University or MIT, and they were still able to do the job, and much, much better than their counterparts at the European Space Agency or NASA or the Russian Space Agency or anybody else. In fact, we were able to do the job in 1/10 of the price that it took for Western space agencies to complete that very task. So is this also reflective of the fact that even though you might not be an IITian or an IIT, it's ingrained in our country for those who want to pursue it, who want to pursue space studies. We have the brains, we even have the know-how, and if you want to achieve it, there's nothing that can stop you.
Absolutely. Look, both Ambassador Mukherjee and Vinkapat Sudhakaran has hinted towards it that most of us, we come from a background of a very, very modest school. I have studied in a village, a very remote area of Bihar, a district called Araria, and that too, the most remote village of that is a Palasi Patigna. I have studied in that high school, and from there I finally came to the Armed Forces Medical College, Pune. That was the medicine, and thereafter I did my aerospace medicine. I became the professor of the aerospace medicine in Bangalore University. And finally, when I came to DRDO, that was the time when I was exposed to the space science, aerospace design, aerospace science. And I was, inducted into the scientist stream, and I became a scientist. I had, about 10 years of the design experience of this. I was never exposed to those. I didn't go to the IITs. I didn't have the, maths and physics in my studies. I have studied medicine. And there is a far distinction in the medicine and the design scientist, aerospace, space science, rocket science, all these that I had been doing in the subsequent tenure of my scientist. Totally distinct. And there are many people like that. All of them, most of them having come from the modest area, modest background. And that is how their faculties are open. They have many of the gray matters to accommodate additional thought process within their mind and brain that they can think of, question themselves, answer themselves, take out the jugaad type of innovation, that how to find out this particular question that is being asked by technology. All these are being done today. But I must also tell you that today's students of a small school or the higher school, today's children, they have got much more thought process in place, and the new schooling policy, new education policy it has given, it is not inducing student to go into the areas which they want to go into that. That is Atal tinkering lab sort of thing. School is coming there where anyone who wants to do a particular type of research will be inducted into that. And that will be the time when India will see many of their Nobel laureates coming up there in the future times. And of course, this is the beginning that we have made. It is just the beginning, Megha. You remember today, and just within 10 years, you see how the science, magnifies itself within India, within our own scientists. I know Big Commander Sudhakaran. These are the people right now who are shaping up tomorrow's. And he may not be, I may not be known tomorrow, he may not be known, but people who will be there tomorrow, they will be known. And last thing, we scientists, most of us, we are introverts. We are absolutely engrossed into our thought process. We eat science, we drink science, we sleep science, and we are, once we have got a project, we are absolutely lost in that thought. My beards and other things, we used to wonder that the scientists will have beards like this and hair protruding out like this.
Of
We
course,
don't have time.
the prime example of Einstein.
We don't have time to think about these things, that my hair has gone like this, my beard has gone like this. No, I don't have time to think about it. I wake up in the morning, I'm already engrossed. I go to my lab, there something is already pending of the yesterday that I have to continue there on and complete that thing. That answer may not come that day, may come after 3 days, 4 days, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, months. So that is the type of the dedication and energy that we spend in our research, R&D, especially research and development. There, all these things go when we innovate a particular technology.
Absolutely.
And it is only beginning of it, Megha.
Absolutely.
It's lot many things.
Ambassador Mukherjee, when the diplomats, when ambassadors travel all across the globe representing the country, can there also be initiatives that can be built to allow for homegrown talents to be then showcased in the country where you are serving? Again, building these collaboration programs. I was talking about how the French embassy was deeply involved in having this global space initiative, global space program, where ISPA, Indian Space Program Agency, and the French Space Program Agency were working together, and then and it was the French embassy and that was working together with the government of India and the Space Agency of India. So can there be a possibility, and with the kind of memo that can be shared by the government of India, for ambassadors to specific countries from India to work on these projects, to allow for more of these collaborations and these programs and these conferences to be held in the place where ambassadors are posted?
Actually, Megha, let me put it in perspective that we have had collaboration on space-related issues with France for a very long time, like with the United States. This is a long-standing collaboration. And when you said that the French embassy was treating the French astronaut like a rock star, I can assure you that he doesn't get that kind of rock star treatment back home in France. In France too.
No, absolutely. In fact, they have storybooks. They have storybooks that are written, children's storybooks. They are their good night tales that their parents go and narrate them. And it is in fact a very viable profession to look at. It's very cool if you are a cosmonaut and you are going to space and you are going to move. Yeah.
I was just trying to say that they have their sports icons just like we have in India. We have developed collaboration with countries whose space programs benefit our space programs, and we do have actually posted in our embassy, for instance in France, officials from our ISRO who are posted there. They've been there for a long time, and the same goes for United States. And moreover, Megha, when we do our training as diplomats, even way back when I joined Foreign Service in 1976, at that time when India was relatively a very poor country, we were taken all the way to the Bhabha Atomic Energy Institute, where we spent 3 days understanding India's atomic energy program. So, and of course today, so many years later, our trainee officers are given deep immersion in all these aspects which form fundamental part of our foreign policy. That is to say, to bring about collaboration on space, on nuclear, etc., are fundamental parts of our foreign policy. And I would like to also add that I agree with Wing Commander Sudhakaran on one more issue, which is that I hope we don't fall into the trap that the Koreans and the Japanese have fallen into, which is of making our young people do so much of cramming to get into the premier institutes, the IITs, etc. That's why we hear about these suicides, etc. That by the time they enter the IITs, they are not willing to work anymore. They are like completely exhausted, intellectually exhausted. That would be a very big mistake, because then that would take away the innovative aspect of which is so peculiar to Indian scientists. Because I see and hear more and more about these cramming institutes and how they have to cram, and they are pushed and they are pressured by their peer group and by their parents, which is exactly what has been happening in Korea and in China and in Japan. I hope we don't fall into that trap, because I have friends who tell me, Megha, that now when our engineers are coming out of our IITs, they're joining, for instance, Infosys, they need full 1 year's training to learn to become an engineer. And I don't want to hear that said about our young engineering students. I want them to be the way they passed out 40 years ago, when they went to the best institutes in the United States and they were lauded because they were from IIT Kharagpur, IIT Kanpur, etc., etc.
Okay. Ambassador Mukherjee, that's heartening to know that there is a complete comprehensive program for ambassadors, from diplomats, when they are representing the country, and that's exactly how it needs to be. And it can be further pushed with India looking to become a global space power over here, or for that matter, physicists that are then going to be born out of India and are going to be world renowned. And innovators and tech experts, the likes of Mr. Gadgil, Dr. Gadgil, and the likes of Dr. Subra, who have been awarded with these medals by President Joe Biden of United States of America. Then quickly, Wing Commander Sudhakaran, what's the way forward? How do we take forward this ambition for our country to create world-class physicists and innovators and space scientists? What is the motivation that has to be given to the children of our country?
See, motivation can only come from creating infrastructure. Look at the Indian cricket team. Why is it blossoming so much? It is just because the kind of environment that we have created, post the IPL era. So similarly, I was always talking about improving the GERD ratio, the GDP to the R&D ratio. We are at something like under 2%. The world is hovering at around 3 to 3.5%. We need to go beyond 5%. Why? Because we have a demographic dividend that we need to reap. The demographic dividend will not last forever. We've got it for the next 2 decades. So these are the 2 decades that India needs to invest in its demography. Indian intellect is very unique of sorts in the whole world. That is the reason why most of the companies have Indian CEOs at their top. They are there because our intellect has 5 unique qualities as far as I'm concerned. One is, it has got a strong focus on problem solving. We have a very deep understanding of the interconnection of things. Like if you look at our traditional science, it could decipher the cosmic mysteries even without we claiming that we discovered the telescope. I don't know how on earth, but they still did it. The Hanuman Chalisa talks about the distance between the sun and the earth. And that's to the accuracy of the last decimal. How could they do it? Nobody knows. That comes from our strong understanding of the interconnection of things, everything from the macrocosmic scale to the micro level. We have a strong emphasis on teamwork and collaboration. We are not about leaving people alone. Vasudeva Kutumbakam is our soul essence. That's how our souls are groomed right from birth. Then, our willingness to take risks. And last but not the least, we are committed to social justice as a community. because we live in a joint family system which is slowly being broken, that needs to be revisited. If these things are unique to India, we'll need to nurture it by creating environment, by investing in those environment, by giving access to those cutting edge facilities. We can do much better. We don't need any kind of recognition or celebration. Just allow the environment to evolve. Nobody is asking for anybody's recognition. They will all be self-contented with the satisfaction that they have achieved themselves. They will know from within. A true professional is the one who doesn't require a recognition from someone outside. They will know whether they have done their best that they could. That is all that they need. And
okay, all right, fair enough. All important points made. Thank you all for joining me on the telecast. And I only have as much time, so I'm going to take a quick short break. Thanks for watching NewsX.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.